Alright, here's where we package the causes for secession like the Kansas-Nebraska Act. When the alarm sounds, the conveyor belt will move the causes for secession from here to there. Your job is to take the causes of secession off the conveyor belt and place them in these bags here. If you place the bags on the line, then you place the bags on the line there. 2 causes of secession per bag. Now, if any non-causes for secession pass through here, you'll be fired. Forcibly escorted through that door there. Any questions?
Yeah,
I don't have time for questions. Causes of secession roll.
Ha! I get it. Like how the border ruffians rolled over into Kansas from Missouri to vote illegally?
That wasn't a joke. That was an unfortunate coincidental pairing of words. Let the causes of secession roll. I'll be back in 2 minutes to evaluate your performance.
Putting the true causes for secession in a bag, how easy is this?
I know. It's not like people actually think that Lincoln's election was the real cause for secession.
So what even was the Kansas-Nebraska Act?
Are you kidding me, you con-headed ninny muggins?
I know what bloody Kansas was, but no, the actual act.
Well, after the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed, we had a large amount of land to make into new territories and states.
Like California.
Yeah. But there was a debate over the Kansas and Nebraska territories. Many people in the South wanted them to become slave states, but the North didn't want them to. So instead of fighting a civil war or something, a senator from Illinois by the name of Stephen Douglas decided to propose an idea to Congress. His idea was to let popular sovereignty decide.
What's that?
How did I know you were finna say that? Popular sovereignty is the rule of the people. So in this case, the Kansas-Nebraska Act was saying that the citizens of Kansas and Nebraska were the ones who would decide if they would become free or slave states.
So what even ended up happening with this act?
Well, the North hated this idea because Kansas and Nebraska were above the 36-30 line, so they would have become free states. But now they had the opportunity to become slave states. The South loved it because now they could get 2 new slave states that wouldn't have been slave states. This would boost Southern representation in Congress.
Well, what about the Missouri Compromise? That made all states above 36-30 line free states.
The Kansas-Nebraska Act repealed the Missouri Compromise.
I've heard of people called border ruffians and jayhawkers. Whomstava were they?
Border ruffians were pro-slavery people, mostly from Missouri, that illegally crossed the border into Kansas to vote illegally. They were called border ruffians because they were very aggressive and they crossed the border illegally. Jayhawkers were anti-slavery people from the North. They stole from Union and Confederate camps, and that's how they got their name.
Oh, shiitake mushrooms. What did this lead to?
It led to bloody Kansas.
Oh, I know what that is.
Oh, good for you.
Shut up, Satan. Bloody Kansas was the fighting about the Kansas-Nebraska Act. When people got to Kansas, there were high tensions because many were pro-slavery and the others were anti-slavery. This caused many groups of people to break into fights and even littler skirmishes.
What were some of these skirmishes?
One of the most notable was the sacking of Lawrence. Lawrence was an anti-slavery stronghold in Kansas. On May the 21st of 1856, a band of many slavery supporters attacked the city of Lawrence, burning things, destroying things, assaulting people. All in all, 1 person died.
What else did this cause?
The Potawatomi Massacre was a biggie. Remember John Brown?
The crazy abolitionist?
Of course. He went to the Potawatomi Creek and killed 5 men because they were pro-slavery. Johnny B had to go and die. There were mad problems in Congress. The beating of Charles Sumner was a major one. Charles Sumner was a northern congressman who went onto the Senate floor and started talking about how slavery was wrong and talking bad about Congressman Preston Brooks, who was a Southerner, cousin. A few days later, Brooks came to chamber with a metal case and beat Sumner to unconsciousness.
Did Brooks get arrested?
No, he stepped down and got reelected.
Makes sense.
You seem to be doing a fine job. Speed it up a little.
These are coming out way too fast!
But why exactly is the Kansas-Nebraska Act the main cause of secession?
It was because it was the first time we saw people fighting over slavery in the country. People were fighting and dying about if slavery should be legal in these territories. These little fights were predecessors to the actual Civil War. The South was already angry at the North and had been for years because they didn't want the South to have slavery. Now the South had a green light to go and make a northern state a slave state. The South was determined to make it one, and the North was determined to make it free. All of the fighting grew and raised tensions between the North and the South to extreme levels until one day the South had enough and decided to secede.
What about the people that say Lincoln's election caused secession?
Look, they stick! Oh, they're stupid and wrong.
Why?
Well, the South was already angry about slavery possibly being taken away from them by the Republicans. At that point, the North and the South already had massive tensions between them. Lincoln's election was most definitely did not help, but it did not cause secession. They were fighting that raised the tensions during the Kansas-Nebraska Act is what made the South so angry and wanting to secede. They were waiting for the perfect moment to secede. And a president that was going to take away slavery away from them possibly was the final straw, but the least impactful one. There was no clear way that Lincoln was going to take away slavery, but the South was just looking for the perfect opportunity to escape. Oh no, look, she's coming!
Good job, boys. Are we done?
Yeah.